Basketball is more popular right now than it has ever been. As a result, there are more young people dedicating their lives to the sport than ever before. And this has led to the talent level around the world rapidly increasing to levels we have never seen. The NBA has long outgrown its 30 teams. Nobody would deny that. There are plenty of elite players currently forced to play overseas or in the G League because of roster restrictions. Throw in the fact that star players' salaries have skyrocketed and the overall team cap rules have become more restricted thanks to the most recent botched CBA, there is more NBA caliber talent being forced out of the league right now than ever before. If the NBA doesn't expand now, then the Middle East just may take over the basketball world. We have seen it start to happen in sports like soccer and golf. I don't think we are far from seeing them decide to fully invest in a new basketball super league. I definitely could imagine guys like James Harden in his later years signing a $100 million deal per year to play for Dubai or Riyadh. There are teams already over there picking off NBA talent to play in their league, which is currently below the Euro League. So the NBA will expand, probably within the next couple of years if we're being honest. And there are two cities that pretty much everyone brings up when that topic arises. The first one is Seattle, as they have long been past due for the return of their Seattle Supersonics. When I was a kid, Seattle was a league staple. I remember when it was announced that the team was completely moving and changing their identity, just how shocking it was to the basketball world. They had been in Washington State from 1970 through 2008. That was 38 years. To give a comparison, that would be like if the Miami Heat, Minnesota Timberwolves, or Orlando Magic just decided to pack up their bags and move to Nebraska right now. It seems absurd that any modern NBA team would willingly leave given how lucrative the sport has become. The other city everyone immediately talks about is Las Vegas. With sports gambling now being widely accepted across the United States, it was only a matter of time for the major sports leagues to invest and put teams in this crazy city. The NFL, NHL, USL, and even the WNBA already have franchises here. Plus, the MLB will have a team in the not-so-distant future. Heck, even the NBA has been running the official league Summer League in the city for decades. This is a sure thing you can bet on for future expansion spots in the league. But are there other options? If you ask me, the NBA definitely could add more than 2 teams right now when they decide to pull the trigger. I think 4 would be a perfect number personally, but maybe you think even more. Today, I wanted to make a case for 5 potential NBA destinations other than Seattle and Las Vegas. Please let me know down below what your thoughts are on these locations. Who do you think would be the best choice amongst the ones I listed, or who do you think is worth mentioning that I failed to bring up? I am eager to see your takes down below. Also, please like the video as it helps me out a lot more than I think you guys realize. Now, let us get started. In no particular order, I believe the city of Vancouver, Canada is due for a second chance of the NBA. To the average American, I could imagine why Vancouver may seem like an odd choice. Most people don't actually remember the old Grizzlies, as not only were they only a team for 5 years, but this was back before things like the League Pass made every game viewable online, or the internet was even a thing so you could illegally stream the game online. Vancouver, as a city, has grown immensely since the late 90s in both quantity but especially quality. Back then, the population just barely cracked 500,000. Today, it is inching closer to 700,000. The city has also become a premier spot for travelers looking for the perfect blend of a fun nightlife only a major city can provide, while also featuring some of the best natural views our planet has to offer. As very few places in North America rival its blend of major city living and eco-friendly practices, the city's primary focus for housing is in luxurious towers for condos and apartments, as opposed to single-family homes with basic, plain green lawns like you see in the United States. Vancouver has been designed with natural green spaces in mind. The city is pretty much entirely either walkable or easily accessible on a bicycle, which most people opt for over cars. The flow of green beauty throughout the city is unlike anything I have ever seen in the United States. Unlike most major cities in North America, Vancouver is a mecca of diversity as well. When you walk through the shockingly clean streets, you will hear dozens of languages spoken. leaving English as the minority. French, Mandarin, Cantonese, Japanese, Korean, Hindi, Punjabi, Tagalog, and so many more are preferably spoken there. The NBA loves pushing their content to the international world, but because this is a new world sport, it has been difficult to get an avid audience of people in Europe, Asia, and Africa, as they are all very far away. But being in Vancouver, with so many people from those regions either traveling or living, the league will become more exposed there than arguably anywhere else. Vancouver also already has a love for professional sports in their wealthy city. They adore their NHL, MLS, and Canadian football teams. You see flags and jerseys all over the city representing their clubs. You can even see plenty of Toronto Raptors gear throughout, which would be like a person from Portland calling Atlanta Hawks their local team. Also, if you're worried about the stigma of Canada being a frozen wasteland throughout the winter and good NBA players not wanting to be cold, then I have news for you. Thanks to the city's perfect location in the position where it is next to the ocean and the mountains, the winters rarely drop below freezing, even at night. Do you realize how many supposed premier destinations in the United States see frigid weather all throughout the NBA season? And during the summer months, Vancouver rarely even hits 80 degrees, so it's not too hot. It is a beautiful, truly year-round city. Canada is due for a second NBA team, and Vancouver makes the most sense. Keeping our focus abroad, I think another location worth looking into would be San Juan, Puerto Rico. Unlike Vancouver, I have not personally been to San Juan, so I'm speaking as an outsider here, but I know Puerto Rico is both the United States' largest territory, and basketball is one of their most popular sports, if not the most. The tiny island nation, only possessing 3 million people, has been a force to be reckoned with on the international stage for many years already. In the most recent Olympics, we saw Puerto Rico qualify for the tournament over the likes of the basketball-crazed European nations Lithuania and Italy. There is a burning passion for the sport there, and I bet that plenty of Spanish-speaking basketball players around the world would desire playing professionally there if it meant staying close to their Latin American and Spanish culture and being part of the NBA. We have seen many foreigners good enough for the league leave due to not feeling comfortable in the cities they are signed to. A safe, Spanish-speaking nation would be attractive to many good players. Also, if you're rushing to the comments to bring up San Juan's tiny population of barely over 300,000, let me remind you that a drive across the entirety of the island only takes a couple of hours at the most. This team wouldn't be just San Juan's team, it would be the entire island's NBA team. Plus, lots of people vacation in the Caribbean during the cooler winter months to escape the frigid temperatures we have in the US. Imagine going on a holiday to Puerto Rico and getting the opportunity to watch your personal favorite NBA team play in person. That would be pretty awesome. The closest NBA team for San Juan right now would be Miami, which is about 1,000 miles away, which is pretty far, and it would make it the most isolated NBA franchise. But given that we live in the current year, and plane travel is easy, safe, inexpensive, and the NBA is extremely rich, I really don't think this is even a point worth bringing up. San Juan, Puerto Rico is an easy choice for an NBA team. The next city I'm going to bring up is, to be honest, the only city in this video that I don't actually think is a good idea, but I think it's one worth talking about because it's a location the NBA themselves seems very passionate about. I, of course, am talking about Mexico City, Mexico. The NBA already has a G League team set up there, as a trial essentially, before they decide to establish a real big league team. Plus, the league has been playing regular season games here for almost every year for a while now. Mexico City is massive, as it currently has over 9 million people, which ranks it number 1 in all of North America in population. That is more people than LA, Chicago, and Houston combined. There is a massive population here, and they are passionate about their sports, although historically, soccer and baseball have reigned supreme unquestionably. But basketball is getting more and more popular every year, even without a high-quality domestic league for their citizens to enjoy. More people usually equals more money, and the NBA is focused on money above all else. But we cannot ignore the risks of playing big-money professional sports in the nation of Mexico. Most developed nations have a rating system that quantifies the risks of its citizens traveling to just about every country worldwide. Some nations have their countries divided by provinces or regions if certain areas are safer or more dangerous than others. The entire nation of Mexico looks like this. As you can see, large portions of this country rival Afghanistan, North Korea, and Ukraine right now. This is not a safe place to be, especially as an extremely wealthy 20-something-year-old. Organized crime runs rampant throughout the country, and with the rise in sports gambling, I just feel that those with money and power are going to be extremely weary about setting up a franchise here at this time. Another worry to have about putting an NBA team here that won't go away is the extreme elevation of the city. This is not commonly talked about because most of the United States is not really that high up in the air for it to be a genuine issue, as currently the highest NBA city is Denver at 5,200 feet. For those who have never played sports at such a high elevation, it is very difficult to acclimate yourself to the thinner air with less oxygen in every breath. There is a reason the Denver Nuggets have such a monumental advantage in their home games compared to the rest of the NBA. Flagstaff, Arizona, home of the Northern Arizona University Lumberjacks, is nestled up in the Rockies at 6,900 feet. I used to train up in these mountains for swimming, and let me tell you, there is a reason many athletes, including Olympians, come here to practice. It is an extremely difficult place to train. Mexico City is at 7,300 feet. For those with certain diseases like sickle cell anemia, it is not recommended that you travel to destinations of such height at all. Having an NBA team here would make the lives of every player in the league miserable every time they have to travel here. I know I said NBA teams are already playing regular season games in this city, but they are planning this well in advance and taking precautions like arriving early and getting a couple days off to acclimate themselves to the extreme elevation. But during a regular NBA season, sometimes you show up the night before the game. There is no way to acclimate yourself in such a short amount of time. Look, it would be really cool for Mexico to have an NBA team. I grew up very close to the country, and I know many people from there. They do love basketball, but the reality is, right now, it's not a good time. Okay, enough Mr. Worldwide, time for a couple actual American teams. It is shocking to me that Louisville, Kentucky does not have an NBA team. When you think of American basketball below the NBA level, you probably immediately think of the University of Kentucky. This has been the premier destination for American NBA prospects to play their lone one-and-done year for the past 2 decades. If you expand the region a bit to encompass all of Kentucky and Southern Ohio, you will see a basketball-crazed population starving for a team. They adore the U of K, but they also show up for the University of Louisville, the University of Cincinnati, and Xavier University. Plus, even below their college teams, there are a ton of NBA players coming out of the high school system in this region. Indiana may reign supreme in Midwest high school basketball, but Kentucky and Southern Ohio are a very close second. This region of the country already adores their pro teams in non-basketball sports. The NFL, MLB, MLS, and USL are all represented here and have rabid fan bases. I am confident they would show up to support their own NBA franchise. In the distant past, the NBA actually did feature a team in the area. From 1957 to 72, the Cincinnati Royals were very competitive in the league as future Hall of Famer and pioneer of the triple-double Oscar Robertson led them to 6 straight playoff appearances. They moved to Sacramento in 72, leaving the region without a team ever since. The city of Cincinnati today, unfortunately, is extremely overcrowded, polluted, and has some serious geographical problems plaguing it, so I don't think putting an NBA team here is the best idea, but Louisville, just across the river and down the road a little ways, makes perfect sense. The Midwest loves basketball and has a ton of people looking for a pro team they can support. Louisville is the best destination for this team. And rounding out this video, I'm going back out west to the state of California, already so rich in NBA franchises, but the reality is, there are so many people here, I believe adding another team won't hurt, but will instead bring new eyes to the league. San Diego is where the LA Clippers should have built their new stadium. LA is a massive city, yes, But why try to make it work as the little brother to one of the league's most well-established franchises? No matter how dumb it may be to have two teams in one city, the reality is, thanks to their brand new stadium, they are not leaving anytime soon. Their former brief home back from 1978 to 84 is a hot spot for vacationers across the Americas and sport fans alike. They already proudly support their MLB team, and they will soon have an MLS team. You probably notice the similarities in the sports they have to the ones of Mexico. San Diego is only about an hour drive from Tijuana. They have a very big Spanish-speaking, passionate, sports-loving population throughout their city and in the surrounding region of Southern California. This is the same market the league is trying to win over by forcing their product into Mexico City. But it would be far safer and easier on the players to play their games here. I believe having a team in San Diego would be just as, if not more, valuable to the NBA and meaningful to the Latin American community as my theorized Puerto Rican team. NBA players already love California. You won't get a Charlotte Bobcats or a Minnesota Timberwolves situation here. Young millionaires love warm weather, the ocean, and California. It just makes too much sense for this not to be a real possibility. So there you have it, 5 more cities that I believe the NBA may seriously expand their league and create franchises within. Again, I would love to hear everyone's takes down below about the destinations I chose to talk about today. If I get enough good ideas, I may make a follow-up to this video, so please subscribe to not miss an upload. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you all next time.